Hey guys, I've just released my new soundset for the Korg Wavestate and the Wavestate native plugin, and it's called 80s Synthpop Volume 2. It contains around 80 performance patches of 9 world-famous synthpop productions, and this time I've chosen bands and artists like Aha, Faltermeier, Numan, Michel Jarre, New Order, and others from the beautiful era. The reason for making this soundset was to give you the opportunity to play these beautiful compositions entirely on the Wavestate. I will put the download links into the comment section of this video, and I've also attached video instructions how to play all these different parts, so that might make it easier for you to use my sounds right away. And I've also added MIDI files of all important parts, so that way you have an additional guide for learning those separate tracks. And there's a new soundset bundle on my Gumroad site, everything merged already into one bank, so make sure to check that out as well. I will put also that download link into the comment section. And now let's check the patches. The title track Axel F of the Hollywood movie Beverly Hills Cop, composed by German composer and producer Faltermeier, was released in 1984. In an interview he said that in the beginning he had quite a hard time to convince the producers Jerry Bruckheimer and Don Simpson, because at that time it was common to have an orchestral soundtrack for these kind of comedy blockbusters. And this track is quite the opposite. He used a Jupiter 8 for the main theme, a Moog Model 15 for the bass, and a Roland JX3P for those stabby brass chords, you know. That's really interesting. And the drums were created on a Lin LM1, and the DX7 delivered the marimba sounds. The first Axel F patch is the main theme with the Jupiter 8 lead sound, you know. And in the left hand you have the bass sound, the drums, the percussions, and with the master knob you can blend in the snare drum. And we have the plug part, of course. And then we have this third part, the C part, if you want to call it like that, with the marimba sound in the right hand and this pan flute sequence. that's the whole song actually. So you can just do the different parts with the favorite buttons. Just put it with the editor, put these patches onto the favorite buttons. There's another tutorial I made just for this. Check it out if you don't know how to do it, and it's really easy. The next patch is the Axel F bass. And the kalimba sound. The lead synth, the Jupiter 8 lead sound. And we have the brass steps. This song, written by Gary Numan, released in 1979, was performed by British band Tubeway Army, and it was taken from their second album Replicas, I think. And Gary Numan, who always wanted to be a plane pilot, even got his license, and his own charter airline called Numan Air had been the lead singer of that band. This song was actually written on an old out-of-tune bar piano, imagine that. And he used the Polymoog synthesizer and the Minimoog on this track. The first R-Friends electric part is the complete first part actually from this track. So you have the drum beat and the bass and this Polymoog synth in the left hand, and in the right hand you have this synth as well, and with the master knob you blend in a choir sound in the right hand and a guitar in the left hand. So let me show you. Part is the organ part. Then you can switch back to the regular part again. The next patch is a split sound. In the left hand you have a bass sound, an organ, and in the right hand you have the organ with the lead sound. And we have the drum sounds. The bass sound. Cool for playing Motown bass patterns. and the drums as sequences. With the lead sound on the whole keyboard. And the organ. The power guitar. The song Big in Japan by German band Alphaville came out in 1984 and it was the most successful single of that year. It was produced by a Germany-based producer team called Orlando. And a fan fact is that the expression Big in Japan means actually an excuse. It means that if you are unsuccessful in your own environment, you would have definitely made it somewhere else. Alphaville worked a lot with the Roland System 100M, so the bass sound was created by tuning the oscillators to the root note and a perfect fifth. And there's also some sampling going on, so my guess would be they used a PPG 2.2 together with the Waveterm, and they used the Roland Jupiter 8 for the pads. For the drums, I would guess that could have been a Lin LM1 combined with a really beautiful sounding reverb. Respect, guys, respect. And they also used tape loops which they created themselves. The first Big in Japan patch is the complete patch actually for the whole song. And you can switch from part to part just by turning those knobs. I show you. See now, by turning the master knob to the right, you have this square pad for the first verse. Just by turning these master knobs, you go with the master knob, you go to the first verse from the intro to the first verse. With the timing knob, you go to the chorus, from the verse to the chorus. With the sample knob, you go into the re-intro with this marcato string sound, and with the pitch knob, then you go from the re-intro into the second verse with the pad. And just one more thing. On the one more thing on the C, on the lowest C, you have this kind of a transition sound that you can use to go then to the next part. And the next patch is the big in Japan arc strings. Guys, if you like my video, hit subscribe and the notification bell, because that will definitely help me to produce a lot more of this content. By the way, if you are interested in even more Wavestate sound sets, I also made these. I will also put those download links into the comment section of the video. And now let's get back to the patches. The next sound is a split sound. So you have chords, bass, and pluck sound in the right hand. We have the bass sound. And the drums. And let me check what else do we have. We have the big intro hit. From the very beginning of the song. And we have the pad. Pluck synth. The song Blue Monday by British new wave band New Order was released in 1983 and is definitely one of the most known synthpop and techno tracks of all time. The band's New Order was a reformation of the group Joy Division, whose lead singer Ian Curtis committed suicide. The three remaining band members then regrouped in 1980, consisting of vocalist and guitarist Bernard Sumner, bassist Peter Hook and drummer Stephen Morris, and they were later joined by Gillian Gilbert on keys in that year. Some tech talk. They used the Oberheim DMX drum machine and the Emulator 1 for the choir sound, which they sampled from the Kraftwerk song Uranium, which I've read in different articles. The string sound could have been recorded on an ARP Quadra, which is kind of an early workstation from 1978. The bass sound came from a Moog source, and I think the strange brass sequence sound later on in that song could have been played on a Prophet 5. And this intro sequence that you hear in the beginning, that might have been recorded on an Voyager 8, which is one of the first rec synths ever made. It came out in 1982. The first Blue Monday patch is the intro sound with the bass drum beat in the left hand and the sequence in the right hand. See, with the master knob you blend in the drums and the bass, and with the timing knob you have now, you add this crazy drum break that leads then to the next part. Which leads us to the next patch. Blue Monday Part 1. This is, let me just switch that back. This is the main beat with the bass and the distorted bass melody, which you can switch then with the master knob to the choir sound. Wow! And the Solina strings. And I've just attached a sustain pedal, which you don't see now, of course. So you can press the pedal and hold the choir sound. That's easier to play than with the Solina string sound. Let me show you the whole patch. And the next patch that I've put on the favorite button is the break, which is quite important. So what you can do now is go to the Blue Monday Part 1. And you hear, now we are in the, let's say in the second part with this funky clavinet pattern underneath the main beat. So in the right hand you have again the bass, this distorted bass sound. And if you turn now the master knob to the right, we switch to this crazy, really cool brass sequence sound. And with the sample knob you can now switch to the second pattern. It consists of two patterns. So in combination it sounds like. It's quite cool. Okay, the next sound is the pulse sequence on the whole keyboard. we have the Blue Monday Solina sound on the whole keyboard. And the synth bass. We have the brass sound. The brass sequence actually on the whole keyboard. And the brass as single notes, single sounds on the whole keyboard. And the distorted bass, of course. And we have the choir. And the drums. This song, Take On Me by Norwegian synthpop band Aha, was produced in two versions. The first version from 1984, produced by Tony Mansfield, didn't really make it into the charts, but finally the second version, produced by Alan Tarney, brought the long-awaited lift-off, and it went on number 2 in the UK single charts and the top 100 Billboard charts. The song Take On Me was written a lot earlier for the previous band Bridges, but it didn't fit to their dark style at the time. So it happened later on when Pal Vaktar and Magne Fodoholmen met their old schoolmate Morten Harket, who found that the synth riff could become an international hit, and he should be so right. They used the Uno 60 for this remarkable intro sound, and the DX7 for the bass, a Lin LM1 for the drums, and the Fairlight CMI. The first Take On Me patch is the intro patch. In the left hand you have the drums. In the right hand you have the bells and a pad, and with the master knob you can blend in the bass. The next patch is the complete patch. With that you can almost play the whole song except the intro and the bridge. So it starts with this instrumental hook. You see in the left hand you have the pad, the bass and the drums. In the left hand, in the right hand, you have the lead sound. And if we turn the master knob now to the left, we have we move further into the verse. So in the right hand, then you have the FM flute. can move further into the chorus from the verse. So to do this, we turn the master knob again to the right and the sample knob to the right. Magic. So look, from the verse, it's like... knob to the right and the sample knob to the right, and then we have the choir sound in the right hand with the pads in the left hand. And if we turn now the timing knob to the right, it gets crazier and crazier. We have this half-time beat that always appears in the chorus. And we have this bridge sound with a crazy sequence or arpeggio, pulse synth arpeggio. Play this for hours. Beautiful composition by Aha. Let's have a look. We have the Take On Me Fantasia bell. And the drums. We have the FM flute sound. And the FM bass sound. We have the lead synth. And the pulse synth. And with the timing knob you can adjust the filter decay. The whole album Magnetic Fields by Michel Jarre was released in 1981, and it was one of the first albums that contained samples. So I guess they came from his Fairlight. This was, of course, the total opposite to his first productions like Oxygen and Equinox. He used the ARP 2600 for the bass sequences, I guess, the Fairlight CMI for the sample sounds, a Korg VC10 vocoder, and of course his old organ, the eminent 310, and the EMS VCS synth for his really famous noise and effect sounds, and the RSF Cobol, which I never heard of before. It's the French equivalent to the Minimoog, but then with a memory of 16 programs. Ooh. The first Magnetic Fields Part 4 patch is again almost a patch for the complete song, except the last vocoder part. So we have bass sequence, the percussions, the drums in the left hand, and in the right hand we have the lead sound. And with the mod knobs we can add or blend in new elements, you know, that like the bass sound in the second verse. And with the sample knob we can add this sequence in the second verse. With the timing knob we add some drums add-ons. Okay, let me show you in the context. and so on. And the next patch is then the vocoder part at the end. Add elements as well. You can add the snare drum. And you can add this kind of string sequence. The next patch is the bass sequence. You see, with the speed knob you can adjust the delay level, with the step sequence knob the reverb level, and you have filter cut off and the filter decay. The drums. We have I think these are the drums, yeah, with the single samples. And we have the lead sound. And the pulse sound. And the vocoder sample actually on the whole keyboard. And the bass. The first Magnetic Fields Part 2 patch is the complete theme actually. So with the master knob you blend in the sequence in the left hand in the second part. Let me show you. The next patch is the lead sound. And another lead sound of that track. And we have the drums. Released in 1984 by British electronic band Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, this track, Talking Loud and Clear, was the second single of their fifth studio album, Junk Culture, and was produced by Brian Tench, who also worked with bands and artists like Heaven 17, Mitch Ewer, Kate Bush, just to name a few. After the mediocre success of the predecessor album Dazzle Ships, Andy McCluskey and Paul Humphries left their home base and rented a studio called Air Studio in Montserrat, a Caribbean island. And there they got really inspired by calypso and reggae music. On the track you hear a lot of Fairlight CMI, which they had just acquired at that time. And the drums are layered, I think, so it's really hard to tell for me where those different audio tracks are coming from. The first Talking Loud and Clear patch is the complete patch. With that you can almost play the complete song except for the C part. So it starts with the drums and this pulse synth harp. See, with the timing knob you add the drums and the bass, the snare and the bass. With the sample knob you can now move to this saxophone part. This is the C part with this marimba sound and the bells. And this is the bass sound on the home keyboard. The brass sound. This is the pulse harp. This song had been haunting me for a long time because I had this melody in my head for weeks, but I couldn't find the song it belonged to. So one day I got so annoyed by my own ignorance that I started whistling the hook into my smartphone, activating the Google Voice function, and there it was, Magic Fly by French band Space. The song was written in 1977 by Didier Marouani, who also was the head of that project or that band, with his producer owning the rights of that band name. Didier Marouani had to work under his own name after some disagreements with that producer, but later on he could get the rights back. What I found was that he worked a lot with Korg synthesizers that were available at the time in the 70s. So that could have been the Mini Korg, the Poly Ensemble S, also titled as PS2000, and an ARP Odyssey. The first Magic Fly patch is the complete patch, so you can play the whole song with it. And again, with the performance knobs, you switch from one part to the next one. So yeah, let's just start with the first, let's call it verse. We have the bass, the drums, and the pads in the left hand, and in the right hand we have the lead sound. Now we switch with the timing knob, we switch to the next part where you have the synth brass chords on top of the synth pad. Sample knob, we switch then to the next part where you play the brass step chords in the right hand. And you see, you can just move from part to part with those knobs. Quite easy. The next part is, the next patch is the bass sound. And we have the Magic Fly bass and chords. And in the right hand we have the lead sound. Use it to just practice slowly the chords and the melody, for example. This is a split sound Magic Fly bass pad lead. In the left hand you have the pad sound and the bass, and in the right hand you have the lead sound. And we have the brass sound. The next patch is the drum sound. The lead sound on the whole keyboard. And the pad. Guys, that's it from me for today. Enjoy the patches, enjoy this beautiful music of that great artists and bands, and if you have questions, let me know, write them into the comment section below, and I hope to see you in my next video.